currently acting.
When Parliament set up a 7-member select committee to scrutinize the management of the National Social Security Fund, the committee was handed 4 major tasks which required them to evaluate the status and safety of savers' money, circumstances surrounding the appointment of the managing director, examine corporate governance structure, and establish the extent of stakeholders' engagement. The turmoil surrounding the reappointment of the NSSF's managing director sparked the interest of Parliament, as the stalemate appeared to have been responsible for a floodgate of unverified but depressing information on the status of the fund. A fortnight of inquiry by the Mwine-Mpaka-led committee brought to the fore concerns about the questionable investment decisions undertaken by the fund, obscure roles of the minister and the board, conflict of interest, manipulatable budgetary systems, influence peddling and nepotism. At the centre of the inquiry, MPs heard about an irregularly budgeted for 6 billion shillings, for which the board denied ever budgeting for it.
Personally, I'm not part and parcel of the breakdown of the money to the minister, the money to the chairman, the money to the board. I am not part of that, and that issue was not discussed in the board.
However, the management claimed to be under pressure from its supervisors.
The managing director told us in no uncertain terms that he was under a lot of pressure from his bosses, and we need to include that figure in the budget.
Later, the minister admitted the budget was already catered for.
If we are being found irregular here, let me put on record that Parliament be found irregular. If my power given by Parliament to amend or not amend, to reprioritize under NSS Act, I did it and it is irregular, I call on this committee to also investigate why Parliament varies national budget.
The budget generated serious concern, as it turned out that it was meant for self-aggrandizement. The former NSSF managing director, Richard Byarugaba, told the committee that the budget included 1.8 billion shillings, in which Notu and Koftu already received 100 million shillings each out of the 800 million, and that both the minister and the board chair would take 250 million shillings each, with the rest of the board members sharing out 500 million.
As I have intimated, this is a new phenomenon. It happened to us during this particular year. And me, actually, I thank the Lord that we are here, because all of our things have now come up in the open.
Although the fund has expanded to 17 trillion shillings, up from an estimated 1.7 trillion over the last 10 years, there were serious concerns about investments in real estate and on the Uganda Clays Limited. The MPs argued that the price of the housing projects undertaken by the fund are beyond what the population can afford, and besides that, the land on which they are built are either encumbered or haven't been transferred into the names of the fund. A case in point are 4 plots of land in Temangalo in Wakiso district and the NSSF headquarters workers' house, whose title deed is in the hands of Alcon.
There were issues regarding the construction with Alcon, and that duplicate certificate of title with agreements in place was given to Alcon as security. However, when Alcon exited, they did not return that duplicate to NSSF.
Then there was a failed smart card technology in which 2.6 billion shillings of savers' money was lost.
The card was simply a mistake. Probably it is something that we should never have done, okay? So I mean, even at the time the idea of the card was conceived, it was not possible that any member of the fund would walk to an ATM of a bank to check their balance.
In the same way, there are questions about an 11 billion shillings loan the fund lent to Uganda Clays Limited that had by 2015 accumulated to 20 billion shillings. Whereas the MPs got agitated that the loan was written off, the management put up a spirited fight in defending the investment to the loss-making company.
If any bank had foreclosed on Uganda Clays today employs over 1,000 people. It would be normal. Uganda Clays contributes about 1.5 billion shillings. It would be normal. Uganda Clays today, we have 32% of equity stake in Uganda Clays. If a bank had foreclosed on it, it would be normal.
The decision leading up to the provision of the loan to Uganda Clays Limited was reportedly executed in an environment where there was great conflict of interest as Byarugaba was allegedly the chairperson of Audit Committee on the board of the company.
NSSF is profit motivated, not a bailout. Now, Mr. Byarugaba, you were appointed on the Audit Committee of Uganda Clays on 29th October 2010. Is this true?
It's not true because I wasn't even I was just been appointed to the NSSF, so I'm not too sure that appointment. Actually, I don't know. I can't remember. But I know that I was appointed on the board of Uganda Clays, largely to help us manage the company on their board because of the fact that we were a large shareholder. I think we own about 32%.
Conflict of interest was also raised about the request of 1 billion shillings by the Secretary General of COFTU and an NSSF board member, Dr. Sam Lyomoki. How board members to the fund are nominated is an area the committee could recommend for changes or strengthening, given the submissions that Lyomoki and another board member from COFTU, Penina Tukamwesiga, nominated themselves to the board.
Illegal nomination of the members to go and represent workers in a portfolio of 17.88 trillion. Somebody nominated himself.
Allow Matua to come back and withdraw that statement because I'm a practicing lawyer, I'm a married woman, a church leader, an advocate of the High Court. I've been practicing for 10 years. I've been in the labor movement for over 15 years. I have the experience, the qualifications, and the skills to be on a board.
MPs were shocked that the Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority, which is responsible for the vetting of the board members, went ahead to clear Lyomoki and Tukamwesiga. Jackson Onyango, NTV.